Hello, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us for an Assembled and Thrasio webinar. Today we are going to be talking about going from great to top 1% with AI-powered automation. I'm going to be hosting the webinar. My name is Kate Hutchinson. I work in the product marketing department here at Assembled. And before we start the show, I just want to go over a few housekeeping notes. So feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. We will be using the questions box, which you're going to be able to see at the right-hand side of your screen. Go ahead and enter your questions. If we have time at the close of the presentation, we're going to be taking questions. And also, you will be getting a recording of this webinar when it ends, so you can share with friends, family, and anyone else you think might benefit from the content. And keep your eyes peeled throughout the program because we are going to have a chance to win prizes with a brand new game show of our invention. So stay tuned for more instructions on that. So your speakers today, I am your host, Kate, and I am so thrilled to be joined by Gershwin Exeter, who is the Visionary Chief Experience Officer at Thrasio. And Thrasio is a next-gen consumer goods company. And Gershwin believes that leaders have a responsibility to guide, empower, listen to, and evolve the next generation of professionals. And that's why he's so passionate about the global services practice at Thrasio. So at Thrasio, Gershwin has had some amazing accomplishments. He's implemented an extremely robust customer experience and employee experience omni-channel platform that uses AI, generative AI, machine learning, deep learning, sentiment analysis, and predictive insights to achieve top 10% operational metrics, and that's across all industries. Gershwin, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you, Kate. And Kate, if I ever win a Grammy, you're going to do my intro speech for it. So thank you very much for that warm welcome.
Great, I would be honored. So let's dive right in because I think folks are really excited to learn about you and everything you've done to just elevate the Thrasio support experience. So I'd love to learn more about your approach to being a chief experience officer, how you approach that role. Tell us more about how that ties into the principles that really found the company and how you apply those.
At Thrasio, we have 9 different leadership principles. And while we embrace them in various aspects, there's 2 in particular that resonate with me and that I really hold dear to. One is good enough, good isn't good enough. And what's so ironic about this is one of my mentors, Judy Hand, who I worked with previously, had a saying that good enough isn't. And I've always remembered that because as a perfectionist, it's you reach a certain status, you achieve it, you celebrate, and then you look for the next status and the next status and the next status. And that has always been very key for me, that find your potential, achieve it, set a new goal, achieve that again, and keep going. And one of the easiest ways or most proficient ways in doing so is by keeping it very simple. And that's why another leadership principle that we have is embrace simplicity. As opposed to trying to do a whole bunch of different things together, find what you're good at, be excellent at that, do all the work so that you can be as best as you possibly can with that. And that's the embrace simplicity. And then you work on your fatal flaws. So if you focus on the things that you do well and you continue to thrive and do well at them, and then eliminate the fatal flaws, you don't have to be perfect at everything. Just make sure that anything that could be considered a fatal flaw is removed, and focus your time working on what you do well, and keeping those 2 things as simple as they are, they roll. That's why these 2 principles roll so well for me. As a perfectionist, good enough isn't. And then a way to achieve that is by keeping things simple and focusing on what you really enjoy doing it extremely well, and limiting the distractions and getting caught up in those little one-offs that are not necessary. You get to your ideal end state, which is for us being in the top 10% across all major metrics.
That's amazing. And I love the idea of really helping people lean into the things that they're already good at. That zone of genius is so important for people. So moving on to support operations and what this looks like in support operations, what are really like the keys to success when you think about Thrasio?
For us, especially within our team, we had to look at our metrics and simplify them. So we have a variety of different teams within our organization and within our team. So we do the tier 0 support, tier 1, tier 2. Tier 0 is a self-help. Tier 1 is when you're interacting with one of our frontline folks, and tier 2 is when they need to escalate. And those team members, we also have a compliance support team that partners with our legal. We partner with our brand operations on their support. We have our project management office. We have our insights team. And when you put all these functions together along with the desktop support, so all of our internal platform support also roll up through our organization, we had to find a way that we can get metrics that sat across these multiple teams that were consistent, that they could work together, they could work harmoniously, and they could be held accountable to them. So what we did is we looked and we said across these, there was really 3 metrics, and even though you're seeing 6 on the screen, they work for the different departments in there, and some of them cross over. And we said, here's what we're going to focus on. And when we first got started on day 1, which was literally 3 years ago in 2 days, so July 13th was my first day at the organization 3 years ago. This is what we were sitting at. We did not have a customer satisfaction score. Everything was highly subjective. It was a piece of paper that people, or Google Sheet, and people were doing subjective reviews on it. Our first reply time was sitting at in the 20-hour range. Our full resolution time was sitting in the 220-hour range. For our listing support team that handle a lot of our compliance support with our channel partners, they just didn't have the time, and we did not have an employee satisfaction score, and we were just growing. We were literally growing. We were at 220 people on one team. The other team was at 109 people, and it was all about growth, and it was throwing bodies at solutions, and that just isn't maintainable. It's not effective. It doesn't give you the solutions or the results that you want in the long term. So we came in right away, and Beaver, Joss, there were some folks that were there with us. They're the day 1 team, and they're still around today. They say they didn't, but I know that they had a voodoo doll for me, because we were challenging them. We were asking them to think differently, and I give them their absolute credit, because they stuck with us and they rolled with it. And then with our listing support and that team, that when they came over, that team had 109 people, and several layers of leadership left, and Mairead and Daniel, they're leading that team now, and they believed in this. And that's one of the big keys here, is finding people who believe in you, believe in the vision, and believe in the strategy. And we'll get to that. We had 6 months, and our thing was we were going to set new metrics. And when you look at it, our customer satisfaction, getting that from being a non-existent subjective score to having pronounced 88%, that was a big deal. We cut our first reply time down from 21-ish hours down to 69 minutes. Our full resolution time went from 22 hours down to just over an hour and a half. So for those of us watching the Copa or the Euros, that's just over a football match to get a full resolution time wrapped up. And then the listing support, just being able to benchmark it and you say 97 hours, that's a long time. It's because we had to work with different partners like Amazon, Walmart, Target, and we had to go back and forth with them. But those were what we were looking at. And then you look at our employees and you say 71, that's an adequate score. It was one of the higher scores it was the highest score within our organization, within our team. And while we were doing that, we also took and we reduced a lot of staff. We put into place a lot of things. We had, at the time, 66 different systems in play. And you're talking about embrace simplicity. We went from there down to six different platforms, and that reduced our overall cost to serve and our total cost of ownership by 42% there. And so we just talked about embrace simplicity, but now let's go about good enough isn't. And for those of you who interact with me or know me, those are good. We were actually in the top 10 percentile across all of our different partners. So what we do is we benchmark our performance with our partners, and our partners tell us how we're doing across industries and across verticals. 18 months later, then we were sitting at our CSAT went up, and by implementing AI, and we'll talk about the power of AI meets HI, and HI for us is human intelligence. So when artificial intelligence and human intelligence, when those two merge together, we were able to drive our customer satisfaction up to 97%. We were able to take that first reply time, and because of partners like yourself at Assembled, who are now handling 53% of our interactions asynchronously and autonomously through AI, we're down to a 1 minute first reply time on our customer interactions as our median. Our full resolution time is sitting at 12 minutes. For listening support, the automations that the team put in play went from 97.5 hours to now 1.7 hours. And, you know, I got to be careful because the team's going to come back and say, those were for the first quarter or second quarter. They've improved on those. So you're seeing those numbers come down. But we'll show off with those numbers for now. And then our employee satisfaction. This was one of my favorite parts because people say, oh, when you do that, employees are going to be pissed because their counterparts are leaving and people they've worked with for a few years. The investment that we made in our employees and developing them and making them understand why we're doing this, our employee satisfaction actually went up 8 percentage points here. So that's a big deal. And then we reduced our cost to serve by another 47%. So all these things that come into play, it tells you whether you're looking at it from a timing perspective, a quality perspective, or a job satisfaction perspective, we were hitting everything. And having a team of individuals to believe in the vision and then to tactically execute against it, those are all things that are absolutely imperative. And then measuring against those results and then being able to report it back out and having your partners report it back out. So it's one thing for us to come and say, hey, we're doing a good job. It's another thing for our partners to come and say, look, against industries, when we benchmark you, you're nailing it across the board. And those are the wins that we're really proud of as an organization.
There is much to be proud of here. Gershwin, the numbers speak for themselves. So much I think part of this too is that technology is only one part of the entire solution. I know there's a way that you think about it structurally. Tell us more about that.
The main question that people come and say is, oh my gosh, we love what you did. What tech did you use? I can give you the tech. It's not going to get you anywhere. Just giving a person, the way I've explained this is for those of you who live in a major city or who deal with traffic. And for me, Toronto's that city. And if you've ever been to Toronto, the traffic is real in Toronto. Imagine you had to get to work at 9 o'clock every day, and there was always an hour's worth of traffic for you to make that distance drive. Okay. And what a lot of people do is they look at technology like a car, and it's like, oh, well, I drive a Honda right now. If I just got a Tesla or an Audi, I would get there quicker. I'm like, no, you won't. If you leave at the same time, you take the same route, you're going to get there. Guess what? At the same time. And by the way, depending on what type of vehicle you get, you might actually end up causing yourself more damage because a Honda is great on gas. You put a Porsche on the road and it's going to guzzle gas, or it's not going to be good, or your maintenance. There's other elements. So it's always important to know that technology is important, but it's only 1/6 of the solution. What we were able to do is and when I talk about the team believing, we created strategy. We created strategies, actually, and I'm using a plural sense because this was a unique situation that when we look at the timing and what our organization was going through at the time, I couldn't come and say to our leadership, and I couldn't go to our CEO and say, hey, I have a plan to improve our percentage, to go from top 10% to top 1%. Because traditionally, your traditional thought is that level of improvement takes one, a large amount of time, and two, a large amount of financial investment. So that was not the right strategy to go to that audience with. So to our leadership and to our CEO and sharing it with Stephanie, it was, we're going to reduce our costs. And we had a plan in place to reduce our costs by 47%, which was what we just talked about in that second 18-month period. And it was all about cost reduction. And we were able to reduce our costs by 47%. The actual goal, what we talked about was reducing it by 35%, knowing that we had a buffer room in case we failed, but we always over deliver. But you go to your CEO and say you can reduce your cost by 35%. That's a high five, and go get on it. So that was one strategy. I'll be frank with you, we couldn't take that strategy to our partners. I couldn't take that strategy to John or John at Assembled or any of my other partners across the board and say, we're looking to reduce our costs, because it would be, oh, you're going to cut our contract, you want to negotiate. So what we did with them is my strategy was all about going from top 10% to top 1%, share that with our employees and got that excitement going. So I had two parallel strategies going. All the elements and underlining attributes and inputs were the same. It was just how you communicated to different entities were very different. And generally speaking, you do not improve your quality while reducing your costs. This was one situation that it was unique, and AI empowered us to do so. So you had the strategy in play. The next part was the people, the organization. Did we have the right people in play? And more importantly, did they know why they were doing it? So getting the organization, we literally put our employees through 26 hours of AI specific training. We revamped their job descriptions. We emphasized the importance of, here's how AI works. It's worked. It's been in play since the 80s. It's changed all aspects of your life. It's changing business. Embrace it. Don't be afraid of it. And getting that in play. That empowered, those two elements empowered our employees to really rethink, to rethink all of their processes. My favorite part, and the part that brings the biggest emotional outbreak for me throughout this whole experience, was when Miranda and Daniel came to me and they said that their teams rewrote all 337 processes within our organization. Now, to put that into perspective, the majority of our team is offshore. They're across Philippines, Costa Rica, Romania, Serbia. We have this one crazy Canadian, and we have some folks in the US. Having these individuals proactively go, and because of the training that they went through and knowing that their jobs were changing and they had to think differently, and they embraced and believed in it so much and rewrite those processes, that was so instrumental in getting us through this. The insights, we looked at every form of, we looked at our current data points, we looked at our insights, we got interactive dashboards, and there was dashboards that you could log into and see all the real-time information. And whenever Beaver, Mairead, or Sean and I spoke, it was, let's pull up the dashboard. And everybody was just pulling up the dashboard and seeing information in real time. Every Monday between 5 o'clock and 6:30, reports got sent to your inbox so that we could report on those out as an organization. Yes, our tech was in play. It was absolutely imperative that we had the right technology partners, both from is your platform the right platform, but are your people the right people? Are you thinking the right way? Are you strategic? And then the culture. This all changed our culture, and having a culture that embraced the change, managing the change management, and having the belief that this will all work, those are the aspects that made this work. So yes, tech is important. Tech is 1/6. You need for us, you needed the other 5. And when I rolled this out to other organizations, those 6 are that's your template for success.
I love that. I love that. And having a template is so important. And, Thrasio, you have your eyes on the prize. And now we're going to give an opportunity for everybody within the sound of my voice to also have their eyes on the prize with our new game show, Bot or Not. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Miranda, a member of Gershwin's team, who is able to provide these amazing examples that you're about to see. So here's what's going to happen. Here's how we play. I'm going to flash up a real customer email, a real customer exchange from Thrasio, and your job as the audience will be to use the react key, which you will see at the bottom of the webinar window, to either react with a thumbs up if you think it's a bot, or a thumbs down if you think it's not. So are we ready to play? We should be ready to play. And at the end of our program, we will be selecting 3 lucky winners who will get a gift certificate to go shopping at Nestopia, which is the consumer storefront of Thrasio. Let's have some fun. Okay, so you will see on your screen an email. And in this email, we have a person who is going to be saying they are registering a warranty. They have a question about a warranty. This is getting resolved. They get the answer that their warranty is good for a year. Get asked if they have any more questions. Do we think this is a bot? Do we think this is not? Let's get some thumbs up, some thumbs down. Let's get some reacties in here. All you need to do is react. I'll give folks a couple more seconds. Okay, we're thinking it's bot. Okay, we're thinking it's bot. Gershwin, are we ready? Do you want to show them?
This is Kate. This is your show. I'm just riding shotgun.
Oh, okay. So I get to be the Pat Sajak on this one to further date myself. You friends are looking at a bot. Okay. So those of you who thumbs upped it, great job. You are now in the running for Nestopia gift cards. So I've got one more for you. So here we have an exchange, and we have somebody who has a question about whether a product can be used by humans and dogs. And so, in here, we've got a happy, friendly reply, asking if the person has any more questions, also sending them a discount code for their next purchase. So can I get some thumbs up, some thumbs downs? Do we think this feels human? Do we think this feels bot? Like, thumbs up if it's bot, thumbs down if we think it's not. Okay, we're getting bot again. We're getting pretty, yeah, okay. I'm afraid this time this is humans sounding like humans, but this is a bot with a human editor. So we had a bot assisted human. So I think that Gershwin, are we fair? Do we feel okay giving like partial credit, or do we do partial credit?
I grew up in an education system that we don't do. It's either right or wrong, but you can give partial credits. Let me actually explain this so that folks understand. And I'm going to help people cheat on some of the rest of the answers.
Gershwin.
You have to, right? Every single interaction that comes in, our bot handles it first. And that's the beautiful part about this interaction is whenever a response comes, the bot answers it first. If the AI says, no, it is over 80% confident that the answer is accurate, it goes directly out to the customer. If the answer is 79.9 or less percent confident, it then goes to a human, where, as we talked about there, the human can then edit it. So now the human can edit it and say, hey, tweak this answer, or the human may look at it and say, well, actually that answer is perfect, and press enter and send it. And the human would still get credit for it because they reviewed it. So the little sneak in this is our bots answer every single one of our interactions. It's just, does a human also look at it in those situations? So based off that, you might want to give people the partial credit. You can go right ahead. I can also call that out. The other thing that I do want to call out as we go to the next section is you talked about Miranda helping you out and the fact that there's discount codes in here. One of the things that we did on the culture side is we've changed our employees into influencers. So every single employee within our team has their own discount code. So when they're interacting with customers or family and friends, they can give them that discount code. And then when they go to Nestopia and they make a purchase, for instance, if it was Kate 15, you would get the customer would get 15% off, and then you would get credit as a sale, and then you would get a compensation package under that, just like an influencer would. So that's a big part of our culture that we put into play there, and wanted to call those things out as we move on in our flow there, Kate.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that context, Gershwin. And I love the idea of turning your support team into advocates. That's very, very cool. So, the title of our webinar is talking about going from great to excellent. And we have a little bit of a taste of what matters to support ops and how you approach your role as Chief Experience Officer. But I'd really like to dig into the strategy even more. And, the question at the top of my mind when we were ideating titles for this was like, what does it actually take to go from good to great? What does that look like for you?
Mm-hmm. We talked about the strategy, organization processes, insights, technology, and culture aspects. And this is over, we talked about our 3-year anniversary. And this is our maturation or maturity process that we went through. So we have a maturity model that once a year we go and we do this internally. It's via our visioning session where we look and say, where are we with our strategy? And year one, when we came in, you're going to see those being I'm going to call them salmon color lines. So we our organization, we agreed that we didn't have a strategy. We did not have all the job descriptions, and we did not have a governance model in play and all those elements. We looked and we did an analysis, and we said, from an organization, all of our job descriptions and job roles weren't defined. We didn't have unique training paths and learning paths for our employees. Our processes were not clearly documented in single places where you have a single source of truth. Our insights, we did have reporting. It was in a multitude of different places, and it was a challenge. Our tech, we had a lot of different technologies. We had 66 different technologies. And the biggest problem that is they were overlapping. So you had one piece doing 10% and another piece doing 10%, and we weren't using our partners to their full potential. That said, we had a culture that of people who were happy to come to work. They were motivated. And then what you saw was in the purple, I was at the year 2 mark, and how we evolved at year 2. And we had a strategy, and it worked for aspects of our business. And then ultimately in year 3, we got to the point that we have overarching strategies that were defined with specific business goals that layered all the way up from the CEO down, to an analyst. Our organization, everybody had their job descriptions. They were tailored, they were specific. We actually have both job-specific learning paths and individual personalized learning paths for each employee. Our processes are now documented. They're in single sources of information, single sources of truth within the organization. We still have to do some improvement on our insights. Now we have dashboards, we have reports, we have analytics, we have insights. We're able to read them out. What we're planning on getting to this year is having a single unified dashboard. And that's a big ask when you're talking about rolling this out. We have our tech in play. For every single partner, we're using 80% or more of their features and functionality, and that was so massive. And then we have the culture. We have the culture of believing in greatness, of achieving greatness, and all those things that come into play. And one of the biggest parts about this is the over communication. So as we went through this process, we were communicating to people why this is important. We set forth those learning paths for each individual. We have something called 1% to greatness, where every day we ask employees to spend 1% of their day, which is anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes, depending on their shift, and to do something. And there's different exercises that just make you better as a human being. It's not necessarily about work. Sometimes it's culture based. Sometimes it's about going and doing a walk. But we're asking employees to spend 1% of their day just to make themselves better. And when you put all these things together and you make it about their overall development, as opposed to, hey, we just want to make you better for just Thrasio, we want to make you a better professional. We want to skill you so that even if you leave our organization, you're leaving with skills that you can walk into any other organization and be a rock star. That's what drove those are the types of things that have driven our success, that drives our culture. It wraps through our strategy. And that's why our employees really love working with us, because you are improving them as individuals. And those are the things that drove our employee satisfaction rate from the 71 to the 79 over that time period.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love this. This feels to me a little bit like an evolution of the idea of, the power of one that we always talk about in support and in contact centers. Now it's like the power of the 1%. That's where you really get people activated. I think it's no surprise to anybody who's listening to this call that there are a lot of AI products out there. I heard a rumor that you actually evaluated at least 21 different solutions. I know you are a man who expects excellence out of your team. I would imagine you're a man who expects excellence out of your vendors. Like, how did you manage this? How did you navigate this?
So let me just get rid of the word vendor and throw that away, because the vendor. So for us, we do have vendors, by the way. We have vendors like Zoom. We pay them a bill every month or every year. I don't talk to vendors. I talk to partners on a regular basis. So you got me on your team who every Monday, literally Mondays are partner days. There's 30-minute slots throughout the day that I meet with our various partners, and we have strategic conversations. And those conversations are about what's going on in the business and what are we doing on a 3, 6, and 9 month rolling path. Now, whether it's me or Shelton, some mostly get annoyed with me because I ask for certain things time and time again. And I'm like, hey, make sure to get this into John and Ryan's purview, and what are we doing? And what that allows us to do is work cooperatively to get to the ideal end state. So when we did our evaluation of the different partners, we looked at two things. One, do you have the technology? Does your technology work? Does it do what you say it's going to do? Are you advancing it? Do you have a roadmap? And all those elements. And then on the other side, are you the right type of people that we want to work with? Are you thinking strategic? Are you thinking forward sense? Do you have a roadmap around it? Also, from the people side, do you fit the profile that we fit? And this is a contentious topic, so I'm gonna sway on the side of caution, which I don't normally do. It's just when people talk about diversity, there's a diversity of thought, and that was a big deal for us. We wanted people to come in. There's a lot of females in leadership on our organization. We wanted to partner with an organization that had female leaders in their organization. We wanted to have people with a multicultural dimension. We wanted people with different education backgrounds who spoke differently. And Caitlin, who was one of the biggest reasons why we even went with you, she was a big cyclist. She was fun. She did Burning Man or something like that. And now I believe she's riding through the Himalayas doing something wild. Those are the personalities that our team went, and when they were looking at the 21 different platforms, they looked at both. Are you the right platform with the right technology, and do you also think and operate, and can we have fun with you? Because we're going to do a whole lot of work with you, and we needed those two things to be in play, and that's why Assembled came out on top. And your team is just fun to work with. And even though I give John a hard time about Ryan being my favorite brother because he took me to the family restaurant, John's my dude, right? He's actually surpassed Ryan now because we spend more time together. So he'll probably be happy to hear that because this is being recorded. Those are the types of things that really get us to the level that we get to, and being able to partner on a regular basis, share ideas, share feedback, and get to those end results. That's what makes it beautiful.
That's wonderful to hear. And, for us, it's really, really important that like everything we're doing as technologists is adding value, right? So I think having that mind meld and like having that kind of energy, the shared energy, is something that's sort of a secret sauce to the success. One of the things, you inspire us as well. And one of the things I have heard you say is that, people are thinking about this wrong. They think about deflection, right? And nobody wants to feel deflected. Think about the last time you had an experience where you got stuck with like a robotic feeling chatbot or something. Why would you deflect when you can engage with the people who are your customers? And I think that just resonated so much with the entire team at Assembled. I'd love to hear you expand a bit on your feelings there.
And let's talk about who your customer is first, because a lot of people say customers when they think the end user customers. My biggest customers, I have 3 customers that I deal with first, and then I'll walk through there. So my first set of customers are Murray, Sean, and Beaver. Those are my direct reports. I have to take care of them and make them happy. All right. So when I look at customers, the employees within our team, and then you go to the next level and you go Daniel, Ed, Mike, Joss, Miranda. I have to take care of those, the directors and managers, and hopefully I didn't miss any of the managers, or else they're gonna have a conversation with me that won't be pleasant. I have to take care of those. And then on the other side, I have to take care of Alan, who's my supervisor, and Stephanie, who's his supervisor. So I have to take care of my customers. I have to make sure that our leadership is in an excellent state and they're hyper comfortable and they're not worried about us. I have to make sure our employees are empowered to do what they need to do, and they have everything, and I provide that umbrella to protect them from any of the rain. If those two things are good, then it empowers people just to move forward with that type of grace and that type of freedom. And then there's a whole employee development aspect around that. On the other side, we have the customers who are end user customers, whether they're our internal brand leadership or the legal team or the marketing team or the tech partners that we work with. Those are also customers. And for us, what we talk about is rolling the two together. So you have artificial intelligence, which is the AI, and then when the human's intelligence interacts with that AI, and then you multiply it by the fact that you have human intelligence, and then you can empower that with AI. Those two things, just that is the equation, that when you can engage both your employees so that they believe in what you're doing, and then they can resonate that to your customers, and your customers can want to engage and interact with you, those are the wins. And those are the ways that we engage our employees and we engage our external customers. We don't want to deflect you. We actually want to engage with you more. We want to let you know that, hey, when you bought, you had Ranger Ready. Ranger Ready is a spray for the outdoors. We know that within 60 days, you're probably going to need another one. So let's reach out to you. Let's proactively do it. Now, here's where the whole the influencer codes come into play. If Kate, if you're now engaging with that customer, and then you have that notification or Zendesk pops it up to say, hey, we're about to send this, make sure that it's good, and you approve it. Now you're engaging with the customer on a timely basis. The customer feels engaged. They feel empowered. They actually know Kate 15. So when they make those products, and when they can refer you to a friend, or if it's our AI and our AI automatically does it, they don't even know. One of my favorite parts was when we first rolled out our AI with you. We had one of the personalities is Cal. Customers were replying back with, yo, Cal, thank you so much. Next time you're in my area, I owe you a beer. I was like, yo, you're talking to a bot, right? It's making it sound so humanistic. And the fact that you have to second guess whether some of these interactions are human or bot. And I remember when we shared them with some of my C-suite peers, they're like, this isn't really AI. I'm like, 100 it is. And that's why we need to engage with our customers, both our internal employees and the end user customer who purchases our product, and making them feel ultra comfortable.
That's fantastic. And I think you make such a great point about making sure that our internal teams are super engaged. And we are actually, you have been amazing. You've shared so much. I'm actually going to cut this round of game show.
I'll agree with you that I am amazing. So thank you.
Oh, and modest. It's my favorite thing about working with you.
But you have to have fun, or else you're going to go crazy in this world.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. So we are going to fly through. I'm going to do one more bot or not for folks. So those latecomers can go ahead and make their guess. And to remind you of how this is going to work, you are going to react with a thumbs up if you think it is a bot, and a thumbs down if you think it is not. So I'm going to show you an email. I will explain what's going on in it for a few seconds. And as soon as you have a guess, get those thumbs in the airs, friendos. Okay, so here we have a person who's reaching out about some purple shampoo. We have a colorful lady here. And they're having some issues with maybe it not washing out the way they were expecting it to. And they ask a few questions, right? Oh, we have some nots here. Okay, I would love to hear what the rationale is for not. Do we have anybody who thinks this is a bot? You know, person is asking for more help. Okay, I'm gonna show what it is. We have a bot. We have a bot who's giving you a multi-step process here. This is so interesting, Gershwin.
This is what we just talked about. When you can't tell whether it's a bot or a human, that's we know we had it right. And that's the beautiful part about this. So sorry for all of you who doubted the greatness of Thrasio and Assembled. You're wrong. And let's roll on from there.
It's okay. They're learning moments. It's a teachable moment for us all.
Teachable moment.
So we'll fly through this a little bit. So because I'm hoping that we have some time for questions, because I've not been monitoring questions or chat, but I will be in a second. So digging into implementation, what did that look like, and what were the results?
When we talk about this, and we're gonna jump back and forth between embrace simplicity and good enough isn't. Launching this and launching it in 45 days was the key. And the reason why is we needed to get it done just to get it working. And how we did that is we launched it out of the box. There are so many times that people write up all these business requirements and all these customizations, and they go overboard in trying to solution something that they haven't even rolled out yet. And that's not necessary. So what we went to Assembled, we showed you our strategic plan. We took you out the gate. You already integrated with Zendesk. So literally, and this is my plug, if you are a Zendesk customer of Assembled and you want to roll this out, pick up the phone, give John a call, and just tell him that you're going to do it, and you're going to do it out the box. it's going to work. Once you get it rolled out, then you can start playing with it and tweaking it. And I'm going to associate it when moving into a house. When you move into a house, you don't know where that, and you're setting up your bedroom, you have a plan on how that bed is going to sit in the room, but just get it in there. And then you play with it. And then you figure it out after a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks. But if you try to over engineer that whole plan, no matter what, and Kate, you know this because you've moved in your life, you have a plan, you're going to roll it in. You're like, it doesn't look exactly how I thought it was going to look. And then you have to tweak. So my feedback to you is go within 45 days. They told us it's going to take 60 days. We did it in 45 days, and we got it rolled out. And I will let you know that for every one of you who called John and get that done, he owes me a big bag of cookies. So he already knows what type I like, and we're going to just put it on the tab for him. So embracing simplicity is taking it out of the box, rolling it out. The next part is really good enough isn't. And we talked about the whole concept of training, but there were 4 aspects. Over a 4-month period, we had our folks go through artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, machine learning, and deep learning training. They had 4 months to do it. So call it around 6 hours per month. And they went through this training and they ate it up. And that was a big, big call out for us because they started to understand, okay, this is going to make my job easier. This is going to make my work easier. Oh, wait, we have our processes written like this. We need to rewrite our processes. And there was a whole belief that came into play. And when we talk about our human intelligence, this is why I'm saying it's so important. We need to develop our human intelligence because the human intelligence is going to fuel the artificial intelligence. And we need to go back and forth and have those work harmoniously. So that is a big piece here in getting that done. The next part about this, as we go on, is those 337 processes. We thought it was good. And we as humans, we oftentimes say, oh, my stuff is a gold standard because it's working. Earlier this week, I met with 2 different departments within our organization. I'm not going to call them out. Probably get in trouble because this is being recorded, but oh well, right? And 2 of those in those 2 departments told me, Gershwin, we're good. Our processes, we don't need AI. I sat back and said, okay. And you just can't argue with some people sometimes. Our team went and the fact that because they went through the training and they understood all the capabilities that AI could do, they literally went back and rewrote their processes. They simplified them, they automated them, and they did all this. And the reason why I'm saying that that's so important is that happened earlier this week, but I also had a text and an interaction with one of my good buddies, one of the smartest guys I know, Sean. And we were talking about just job opportunities and job roles as we go forward in our new world. And I'm going to quote him. He said, "My guess is whenever you take on a role, your explicit goal is to be able to automate yourself out of that role within 2 years or less." And we were laughing about it, but we were 100% serious because if you're so stuck on the fact that you are that required and an AI or automation cannot automate you, you're missing the point. It's not necessarily about automating you out of a job. It's automating all the tedious tasks out so that you can focus on bigger things and better things. And if you can go to your leader and say, hey, look, I've automated all this. I have more time to think. They're going to give you more responsibilities. You're going to grow as a human. You're going to earn more money. You're going to have greater share, better benefits, better bonuses. So that's the mentality that we have to go and approach with. And then going back to as you go down to the next part, when good enough isn't, 70 plus 71 pre-AI, it was a good score. It was one of the better scores in our company. No, I'll tell you, people did not believe us when we said that people are going to like their jobs more post-AI. Most people, I mean, I say everyone, most people are of this concern that AI is going to take my job. AI is going to make me, it's going to ruin my life. AI is so prevalent in everything that we do. You have to believe in the impossible. And one of the impossibles were that employees are going to like their jobs more. And let's just stick with facts. Remove all objectivity, all subjectivity and opinions. Going from plus 71 to plus 79. And the difference, one of the major differences in that time period was the implementation of AI. So, and I will qualify this because Beaver reminds people all the time. Beaver is one of the directors on the team. We did this 2 weeks after we laid 55% of our staff off. And as you know, Kate, being in the corporate world, the worst time to do an employee survey is post any type of reduction in workforce. We just did a reduction in workforce, and 2 weeks later, we did a employee satisfaction survey, and we still went up and still had the highest score in the company. So believe in the impossible.
It's remarkable. It's remarkable. And it shows the thoughtfulness and the fact that you involved everyone in the decision making, which I think is such a powerful perspective. We're going to skip our bot or not to go to the advice, because I like that you distilled everything that you just heard into kind of 3 really beautiful pieces of advice for leaders who are undergoing their own AI transformation. I'd love to hear you run through that.
The first one is around creating a strategy document. You need a piece of paper, right? And when I say a piece of paper, it could be a virtual piece of paper. It could be in Word or Google Docs or created and shared in a PDF. You need something to share with your internal and external partners so that they can read it, understand it, and everyone can be on the same page. You can ask questions about it. This is absolutely critical. Get it down, document it. Yes, you can speak to it, but have it on a piece of paper that people can circulate it, and have it so that you don't need to be present when people are reading it. Short, concise, direct. The next part is do your research. I get inundated with so many times people say, hey, can you just do me like a favor and have like a quick 10-minute conversation with me about AI? No, that's my legit answer. No. They're like, why not? Because it's more than just a 10-minute conversation. That's like me going back. That's like going to the 90s and saying, hey, can you just tell me about this internet thing? No, you do your research, learn it, study it. There's enough free content out there. YouTube, LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, we can go on, and then play with it. Download. It costs less than $10 a month to get an AI subscription and practice it, play with it so you know what you're doing. That gives you the confidence. And then, similar to my favorite shoe brand, check mark, just do it. It's okay. Just go ahead and do it. Let it be imperfect. It's going to be better than where it is right now, and then you iterate on it. And that's how you're able to roll these things out in 45 days and then iterate, because it's better than how it was 45 days ago. And then once you have it in play, it's going to just accelerate and make it better and better. So, Kate, let's keep it that simple. Let's rock.
I love it.
Let's have some fun and let the nerdy folks like us with our glasses go and then drink some mango smoothies while AI does a lot of the work for us.
It's a beautiful picture you're painting. I like this. Can we get a beach involved in it too? I'm thinking that would be good.
We're gonna have mango smoothies, so we can hit a beach anywhere. And once you have a laptop, you can roll with it.
Amazing. So I am just going back up and just seeing if there are any questions that have come in during the chat. You folks have been amazing. I do not see questions. So what I'm going to do, since we are a little over time, because again, this has been terrific and I love the authenticity that you bring to things and your sincerity, I am going to say we have had a wonderful presentation. Thank you to every human being who has been on this call for joining us on our AI journey. I've been Kate Hutchinson. I'm in product marketing at Assembled. I want to say a huge thank you to Gershwin Exeter from Thrasio and the whole Thrasio team who really made this possible. So thank you very much for attending. Have a good day, everyone.